Have a nice day. Today we have to discuss an important topic related to the behavior of the consumer. How a consumer behaves in a market. It is so crucial for taking decisions by the producer. And one of the important theory related to examine the behavior of the consumer in a market is law of diminishing marginal utility. To explain this topic, we have to start with the term consumer behavior. Consumer behavior refers to the study of consumers while engaged in the process of consumption. In the process of consumption, the role of consumers, we know the decisions taken by the consumers are so crucial. So how they behave in a market is very relevant in taking decisions by the producer in any market. Then we have to start with a question. Why consumers demand goods and services? The ultimate objective of any type of selection of the commodities by the consumer is receive satisfaction from consuming the commodity. In economics, the term satisfaction is termed as utility. Utility is the want satisfying power of a commodity. We have to start with the two technical terms, total utility and the marginal utility. Let me explain first what's the meaning of the term total utility. Total utility is the total satisfaction that a person gets from the consumption of goods and services. By consuming different commodities, how much total happiness a consumer is getting, that is explained by the term total utility. Then we have to move to one of the crucial term, that is marginal utility. Marginal utility is another, it is actually increase in the benefit or satisfaction derived by the consumer from the consumption of an extra unit of the commodity or service. In other words, actually marginal utility is the additional utility obtained by the consumer by consuming additional units of commodities. Then we have to start with the theory related to the marginal utility, and this theory is propounded by Alfred Marshall, and the theory explains that when a consumer consumes more and more units of a commodity, the additional satisfaction obtained by the consumer goes on diminishes. That means extra happiness obtained by the consumer by consuming extra units of a commodity goes on diminishes. That is the content of the theory, law of diminishing marginal utility. Law of diminishing marginal utility states that as consumption increases more and more, the marginal utility, that means extra satisfaction, additional happiness, will be less and less. This theory can be explained with the help of a table. So in the table, the commodity the consumer consumes apples. From the first consumption, he is with the total 20 units, in other words 20 utils. The term util can be used to explain units. So to analyze the satisfaction, Alfred Marshall used the term utils. Utility is the word for satisfaction. Utils is the word for units. And this theory is a cardinal utility theory. That means, according to Alfred Marshall, utility or satisfaction is measurable in cardinal numbers. So from the first units of apple, he is with the 20 units happiness or 20 utils happiness, and marginal utility is 20. Then he is moving to the second apple. The second apple is consuming. So second apple, additional unit of the commodity, provided him only 15 utils happiness. That means the extra units provided him less happiness compared to the first unit. A total became 35. And when he consumes the third units of apple, his happiness from the third apple, that is 10 utils, total 45. When he consumes a fourth apple, the fourth apple is providing him 5 utils happiness, total became 50. So when his consumption is moving to 4 units of apple, he is with a possible maximum happiness. If he continues with consumption, that means when he consumes 5th unit of apple, his happiness from the 5th apple became 0. When marginal utility is 0, the consumer is with possible maximum happiness, total utility 50. If he continues the consumption, that means when he consumes 6th units of the apple, he is with the additional negative utility. MU became negative 5. When marginal utility negative, total utility starts to decline. That is visible in the 7th apple consumption and also in the 8th apple consumption. So in such a consumption pattern, we can see that MU is negative, total utility starts to decline. So we have to say that marginal utility will decrease and became 0 at a 5th unit of apple, and further consumption of apples will not satisfy the consumer as the MU shows negative signs. This theory can be explained with the help of a graph too. So in the diagram, so in the x-axis we are marking our units consumed. So in the y-axis, total utility and margin utility. Dark bluish colored diagram represents total utility curve. Light bluish colored diagram represents marginal utility curve. Then we know that as per the law, when the consumer consumes more and more units of a commodity, the additional satisfaction, that is marginal utility, goes on diminishes. We can see that MU is a declining line. At the 5th units of apple consumption, MU reaches the point 0, and from the diagram we can see that when consumption is at 5th apple, when MU is 0, total utility is maximum. Then again we have to see that further consumption of apples to 6th unit and 7th unit, the MU curve became negative. When MU is negative, we can see that total utility curve is declining. So the theory summarizes from the diagram, when TU is increasing, when total utility is increasing, marginal utility is positive. When total utility is at its maximum, marginal utility will be 0. Then total utility decreasing, marginal utility will be negative. And this theory explains the impact of marginal utility on consumption behavior of a consumer. In any market, consumer is taking a decision whether to purchase a commodity or not, whether to purchase extra unit of a commodity or not, depends on the happiness provided by the satisfaction provided by the commodity. We can conclude that as per the theory, law of diminishing marginal utility, when more and more units of a commodity consumed by the consumer, the additional satisfaction, that is marginal utility, goes on diminishes. Thank you. ഒരെണ്ണം കഴിഞ്ഞു.